Hi, today I want to talk a little bit about the 65-35 assignments that you're going to see in your dynamic line drawings. So once you've got your 8x10 settled and they are finished, what you're going to do is just outline them with your Micron pens and then erase back all of your pencil marks, and then you're going to go and Xerox them. You're going to make at least 8 copies. You really only need 6, but in case you make mistakes, you can, have extras there. You're going to use those copies to try out different line networks and different ways of working with value. So what I've got here in front of us is a 65% light, 35% dark. So let's take a look at it. So originally, when the student created it, they created it like actually, let's turn it around. It was actually created like this. Now, it changes depending on the orientation. So I'm going to quickly just orientate it once here. And there you can see it looks different right away. I think the best orientation for this one might be something like that. I'm not really sure. But there you can see the different forms of orientation. And notice that the lines here, I think, aren't that successful because they would have been very, very small and then gotten lighter. So I think that maybe a different format might have been a better way to go with those. We start to lose the spheres. They did stippling on the spheres. They did this sort of checkerboard here. So let's look at the next one. So here's the next one that they did. Now it's the same design. I'm going to go back and I'm going to flip this one so it's the same orientation. Oops, let me just go here. Okay, so there it is. And now let's look at the next one. There you can see it's the same design. Now this one is supposed to be 50-50. I think the only thing that really made it 50-50 was going all the way black here. Now this is not, say, 50% black and 50% white. This says 50% light and 50% dark. So what I'm looking for is this kind of stuff, the value changes, right? So I don't want to see just a whole bunch of big black lines. All right, so let's look at the next one. And this one's supposed to be, the next one is supposed to be 65% dark and 35% light. So now this one's actually pretty nice, but do you really think it's changed that much from this? I would say no. I think it needs to go darker. So that's one set. So let's look at another. So here's another one. Now this one is supposed to be 35% dark and 65% light. I think a lot of this is really convincing. This is great. The stippling here really worked out well. I think it probably shouldn't have gotten so dark over here. They tried to do like 2 vanishing points. I don't think this vanishing point helps us feel like it's really moving. I think it stops when it turns down right here. Also, I think the direction of the shape in this box, these like dividers here, aren't really working for us. But everything else is doing pretty well. I'm not crazy about all these spheres going in a line, but I like the kind of randomness of them. I think that works. So let's look at the next one. So here you can see the student just used black to try to create 50-50. I guess, right? And here's going to be our 65% dark and 35% light. Again, better, but is black really the only way to go? Here's another one. And this is, of course, our 65% light, 35% dark. I think this one's really good on that number. This one doesn't feel like it's 50-50. This one doesn't feel, this one feels more 50-50, and I think it would have to go darker to get to that 65% dark. Here's another. Again, 35% dark, 65% light. I think they're pretty much in that ballpark. Just using black doesn't really cut it. You're supposed to be using line networks. And then here's the dark one. And I, again, think this could have been a lot darker. Here's another. And this one I don't think I have all three. And this is supposed to be the dark one. Here's the light one, the 50-50, and the dark. Let's go back and look at those one more time. Here's the light one, 50-50, and the dark. Now, let's turn these around a little bit. So you can see how it changes depending on the orientation. Let's go back. And the value also changes the way you see it or perceive it. Look at that. That's great, right? So that one really starts to feel like it's moving. This one feels more static. And again, so does this one. This one, more movement, but this one really a lot of movement. So I hope that helped you start to understand what you need to do with the 6535s. Remember that you can go into Blackboard, into the program, underneath the area that says, you know, line networks, and there's lots of different kinds of line networks and ways that you can get away from just using solid black lines, because that is not what we want to do. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing your work, and talk to you again next time.